Good morning.
Uh,
Good morning, everybody. Welcome
mm,
to the Unbreakable Wisdom Show. We've got so much unbreakable wisdom to share.
yes.
All right. This morning's conversation is prompted by my friend and John Maxwell mentor. He's the executive, let me get this right so I don't screw it up. He is the executive vice president of Maxwell Leadership, and he wrote this great book called From Drift to Drive. And his name is Chris Robinson. And I've been reading it, and he pointed out a couple of things about how we can fall into the trap of complacency in our lives and some different things. So we're going to talk about that this morning. Um, when good enough is good enough, and how we get stuck in that. And that happens in our businesses, in our careers, and in our lives. So what happens is there's this thing that he talks about in the book called victory disease. And it's something that happens in battle, with the military in wars. And it means that you get yourself into trouble when you rest on what got you to the victory before. So when you are, when you're having a war, when there's a military war and you have a couple of victories, and then you decide like, okay, I figured it out. I figured out this is what gets me to the victory. And then you keep trying that, you keep doing that. That is victory dis-ease, because what that is you're resting on the wins that you had prior, and you're expecting that to give you a win now and give you a win again. And that is what happens in our lives. We get to a certain point and we conquer a bunch of demons and we get a bunch of stuff done, and we reach perhaps an economic level or a spiritual level or a personal development level. And then we're like, oh, this is good. Okay, this is good. And then we sit there. And then we sit there. And then we sit there. And in business, this looks like you had a bunch of success. Think about Blockbuster and Blackberry and Sears and a lot of the companies that you don't hear about anymore. And this is because they had great and incredible success. And as the world moved on, they did not. They did not come up with an executable strategy to move them to the next level. They rested on the success that they had before, and now they're extinct. And this is what happens in your life, right? You get to that certain level and you settle. And you think that you didn't settle because the level that you got to was so hard won, right? Like, it took me so much to get to this level, and now I'm good. I'm comfortable. Comfortable is your enemy. I'm comfortable in this level. And then you don't adopt anything new. You don't go after anything new. You don't make a bigger goal. You don't make a bigger idea. You don't have a better blueprint. You simply exist and keep doing the same things over and over again. Tracy, you want to chime in?
Yeah, there's also a difference. You and I were talking about the other day that when we are sitting in the victory and saying, okay, what's next, rather than giving in and saying, oh, I'm fine here. This is good enough here. When if we want to challenge ourselves to be even a better version of ourselves, it just takes a little more today, a little more than whatever you did yesterday to move forward, to just
Right.
put the next thing in front of you, ignite it, move into it, not rushing and not being disgruntled with what you have, but being at peace with what you have, and knowing that, okay, it's time for something else. And you and I were also talking about it doesn't always have to be work related. It can be what were you saying? I want to learn a new language, or I want to
Right.
learn a new skill. I want to learn how to play the piano, or I want to read
Right.
12 books in a month. How many books did you read?
In January, I went 12 in 1 month.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Just for the hell, just to challenge my, like, because here's
Yeah.
what happens. If you don't get a bigger vision, if you don't get greater clarity on moving forward, you will eventually slide backwards. because there is only so long that you can plateau, okay, in your life, in
Mm-hmm.
your career, in your business, in anything. There is only so long that good enough really remains good enough.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of the game here on the planet called life is to elevate. That's the point of the game. The game is to elevate. Elevate yourself personally, elevate yourself professionally, elevate, elevate, elevate. And the only way to elevate is to stretch, 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 and grow, grow, grow. And what happens when we make a crazy, huge vision is we have to become a different person in order to make that happen, right? We have to
Yeah.
live into where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
And the alternative to that is settling, is
Mm-hmm.
being complacent. And the reason that, and that's like the insidious complacency, is the one where it's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So you passed that like balls to the wall struggle of like getting to some plateau, and you got there, and now you're like, oh, I did all this work, I did 20 years worth of work, and now I've achieved this, now I'm here and I'm good. Okay, for how long are you good? Because the
Mm-hmm.
world continues to change and evolve around you, like Blockbuster, like
Yeah.
Blackberry, like Sears.
Yeah.
They were good for decades. They lasted a long time. For a long time, they were good, and they iterated, and they were good, and they iterated, and they were good until they weren't. Until they weren't. Until
Yeah.
Netflix went to Blockbuster and said, hey, let's be partners so we can bring your video cartridge DVD rental service into the next iteration. And
Mm-hmm.
Blockbuster said, no, thanks. We don't need you. We're the king of the castle.
Yeah.
F off.
Yeah.
And guess who's out of business now?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what happens, because and it's just a great example, because Blockbuster was like, we're good enough. In my work with Harvard Business School, I studied this whole case study so I can speak to this with some understanding of what happened and how it happened, from a more granular level. And it's just, they didn't want to, they thought they were okay. So it's like when you got a promotion, or you got to a particular place in your business, or whatever the case. And this isn't about money, by the way. This
Right.
doesn't have to be about money. This is about you stretching and growing and becoming a better iteration of yourself, and then a better one, and then a better one, and then a better one.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason this matters is because if you are not looking at that, if you are not growing, if you are not iterating, you are complacent, and then you're going to start sliding backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it, you're going to have lost ground
Mm-hmm.
from where you were,
Mm-hmm.
because everything has to be in motion.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy and I were talking about this yesterday morning. When you have a body of water like a pond, and there's no motion in it at all, it
Mm-hmm.
stagnates and becomes disgusting and becomes a breeding ground for yucky bugs, mosquitoes, whatever.
Yeah.
It rots. The water, which is life-giving
Yes.
and nourishing and essential when it's
Yes.
moving, right, becomes deadly when it
Mm-hmm.
sits,
Mm-hmm.
because stagnated water becomes toxic.
Yeah.
So this is the same in your life. Your life is all about energy. Your life is about motion.
Mm-hmm.
You're either moving forward, or you're moving backward, or you're plateaued, in which case you get to decide what am I doing? Like, where am I going? Is good enough, or is it not good enough?
Right.
And
Right.
in Chris's book, he reminds us that, complacency, we think complacency, we think, oh, people that are lazy, that are not doing anything, that are just, not even trying, those are complacent people, not me. I've achieved something. I'm not a complacent person. So this is where it's insidious. It's hiding, right? The complacency is hiding, and it hides in good
Mhm.
enough.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's where we fail to see it. Trace, what's an example in life when you like, when you're just like, oh, good enough is good enough?
Mm, maybe when you get a promotion at work and then you're like, okay, yeah, look at me now, or you work really hard to get the award and you're like, look at that. This is good enough. I'm good. Look at what I achieved. But also, it could be just something so simple as being content in where you are, but then still do things. Have your daily prayer practice in the morning.
Right,
Have your run every afternoon. Have your conversation with your cohorts that talk the same language as you. Do something to keep your mind and your energy moving in a positive direction, and still you can be content with the situation, but you're still progressing, right?
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, I mean, it may be that in your job or career, for instance, you have a goal to get wherever, and that is good. You're good there. You like it there. Not everybody wants to move higher up. Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody wants, so that isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about
Right.
how it relates to your personal growth,
Yep.
like Tracy is saying, how it relates to everything in your life, even in your relationship, because in marriages and relationships,
Hmm.
people get that complacency, victory, dis-ease as well, right?
Yep.
Because it's like, oh, we have a great relationship. Well, all right, we followed the same
Right.
model all these years and it works
Yes.
until it doesn't.
Yes.
Until it doesn't. Everything works until it doesn't.
Yep.
And then what?
Yep.
And then what?
Yep.
Because nobody really is looking at it like that. Like, we look at it like, all right, we have this big whatever that we want to achieve. All right, I want to lose 15 pounds. Okay, I got there. Now what? Now what? Did I incorporate the behaviors into my life so that I will
Hmm.
not, gain weight again?
Hmm.
Or because guess what? After you did the thing and you got to the thing, the habits that you had no longer work.
Yep.
And the balls to the wall habits that you had to adopt to get the thing no longer work because you got the thing.
Yeah.
So now what? What habits carry you forward into the future? What do
Hmm.
you do now?
Hmm.
What's the plan now? What's the
Hmm.
bigger vision now? It
Hmm.
might be to help other people get fit. It
Right.
might be to start a community where you keep conversations going about being healthy and mobile and flexible at your age. Like, right? It doesn't have to be, I mean, it could be that you achieved a thing and you got to a place, and now the next iteration is helping all the other people get to that place because you already did it.
Yeah.
So you start a group or you start a community or whatever.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
I don't think, in my experience, people are not thinking like this. And Chris Robinson says in his, I've coached like probably 1,000 or more people in my lifetime, maybe more if you count the show, because
Hmm.
I literally teach live every Saturday morning.
Hmm.
Chris Robinson has traveled all over the globe teaching with John Maxwell and coaching, and in his experience he sees the same thing, that this is not like the normal go-to conversation. People are not thinking about the next iteration and then the next iteration. Like, when you get to a certain point in your life, when you're a high achiever and you've achieved a lot of things,
Hmm.
you have to now adopt a different mindset, a new mindset that carries you into the future, one that goes above where you've been before,
Yeah.
one that is your next iteration. And we talked last week about messy in the middle. This holds true, because when you look toward the new iteration and you set the bigger vision for yourself, whatever it is, you are not the person right now in this moment. You are not the person that will carry that out. You
Mm-hmm.
have to go on the path to get there. And
Mm-hmm.
in the middle, it will be messy again and it will be ugly again. And that, I think, is what a lot of people want to avoid, because it's like, okay, when I'm down here and I make this goal for my life and I go balls to the wall and work like an SOB to get here,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm like, I'm here. I'm good. Don't bother me. I worked hard. I've done it for decades. Whatever. Okay, how long? How long are you good? And this is something that I am like sitting in the middle of, because I had corporate clients and I made a very, very, very good living with my small consulting company from my corporate clients. And in April, I walked away from all of that to zero and have to build again, hence the Unbreakable Wisdom brand and the me doing smaller business people and mid-sized company consulting, because I saw a lot of people that required help
Mm-hmm.
that were not at the level that I was playing in an arena of hundreds of millions of, the clients are in that level.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I can see, there are mid-level companies, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and regular humans that require help and guidance and the steps and all the things. So I created the Unbreakable Wisdom brand, which I always encourage you, go to the site. There's lots of things you can do there. You can take a class for free. You can watch old shows, or you can join the community where I'm live once a week inside the community. And you can be a part of the continuing conversation to help you
Mm-hmm.
to continue to iterate, continue to grow. So I could have just sat on my butt and did what I had been doing for 9 years,
Mm-hmm.
because nobody asked me to go and people weren't exactly happy with me when I said I was going.
Yeah.
I went because I cannot teach this conversation to you if I do not live it.
Yep.
And I lived it 10 years ago when I left a similar thing. I left a situation that I had been in for 14 years with a group of companies, and I felt like I had run my course. And then we went again, and now 9 years. I believe this iteration is the one that I'll focus on for the rest of my life, because it includes all of you and helping all of you. And that's really what I see has to be done. The point here, though, is that I could have sat on my butt and just done nothing new and rested in good enough. I'm not a person that feels good with good enough. I've just been too well trained to not.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are okay with good enough, and they don't root around in it like I did, right? They don't look around to say,
Mm-hmm.
is it really good
Mm-hmm.
enough? Am I doing what I think my purpose is? Am I helping enough people? Tracy, you were going to say something.
Yes. Oh, when people have that conversation of good enough, they might frame it differently. They might brag about it or hold it in a different space because they don't know what they're capable of. And so they don't know that they can go to the next level, like you were saying. They
Yeah.
don't believe that
Yeah.
that there's anything more. So then they accept what's so, and maybe sometimes it takes an outside person to say, hey, you can do this. I was just thinking about how I went up to the lake with Keith, and he was trying to coax me to dive off the boat into the water, and I put so much energy into being nervous and concerned and anxious. And when I finally did it, I was like, oh my gosh. And I did it again and again and again. Like we have to get out of our own way and trust that somebody else has an idea that they know we're capable of. And then when we believe, okay, I can do this, I can do this. And then when you do it, you're like, oh my gosh, look what I just did. And so that's when it levels you up. But sometimes our mindset can't get us to the next place because we stop here. We don't know
Yep.
we don't know what this is because we're too afraid. But then when we go here, we're like, oh my gosh, look what I just did. So it's important to have, like you said, with the community and just people in our
That's
lives
right.
that will
Yeah. And
move
that
us.
is
Yeah.
exactly why I created the community.
Yeah.
The community is on the school platform, SKOOL, and it's only $39 a month. And what's in there is all of us: Janet, Beth, myself, Missy, We're all in there, and we're all prepared to help and push you and support you and hold your hand and all the things. If you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, you need business advice, I'm prepared to help you with all of that. The ladies are prepared to help you. John's in there. My husband's in there. We're all in there. We all study. We all practice. We are all growing and developing. We are business people. We are professional people. We are also spiritual folks with personal growth conversation, the whole thing. Yeah. So we created the community because of what Tracy just said, because oftentimes you don't believe in yourself enough, or you get to a level and you don't see that there's a path to grow. You don't see that there's something new to do. All right, Tracy's stuck. You don't see that there's new things to happen, and other people can see that for you, right? Other people can see that for you. Other people can see that you can, I'm gonna keep her voice, but hide her video is stuck. Other people you do not see what other people see about you. Other people can often see how amazing you are and how great you are, and you can't see that for yourself. And that's a great commercial, if you will, for the community, because it's exactly why we did that. It's exactly why I made a community that was less than lunch out for you to be a part of if you wanted to. So back to the complacency conversation. Part of that is clarity. Where do you need greater clarity? Where might it be good enough and you don't even know that good enough is good enough? Is it good enough? Where in there might there be a place for you to look to see, have I gotten stagnant here? Have I gotten complacent? Have I stopped growing? Have I stopped trying? Have I stopped being excited and enthusiastic about whatever this is? Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's a relationship. I won't say, it doesn't look like stopped caring. It looks like going through the motions. It looks like checking the boxes. And it looks like losing the enthusiasm and the energy for forward motion in the thing, right? And that is where you have gotten complacent and you don't even recognize it. It's like when you're communicating with someone and you're not really listening. In the communications course that we have in the school, in the Teachable School. And by the way, if you join the community, Tracy's Wi-Fi is going in and out. If you join the community, you get all the school courses for free, by the way, all the Teachable School courses. So in the communication course, I talk about how when you communicate in situations where you've always been communicating, you have a funnel on your head called I already know. So you sit down with the person and the person thinks it's a fresh communication with you. And it really isn't, because if you each have known each other for a long time and you're not aware, you are listening each other from the past all the time. And it looks like, I already know what she's going to say. I already know what he's going to say. And that happens a lot in relationships. I already know what he's going to say. Don't even say anything, because I already know what you're going to say. That is like good enough. I already know how to do this.
And there's no space. There's no space for anything new to show up when you come with that.
Right. And the other thing is, the win that got you there will not get you here. That's the other thing. That's that victory dis-ease.
That's good.
It's called, everything I did to get here is not at all what will get me there. There's also a book called What Got You Here Will Not Get You There. I mean, this is like a common thing that people say,
That's
but
good.
I don't think anyone really like digs into, well, what does that even mean? It means that all the habits, behaviors, and tools and everything that got you here cannot get you to 10 times or 100 times greater than here. That requires new skills, new understandings, new behaviors, new habits, new attitudes. And guess what? When you're going from here to there, it's ugly. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fun. It's messy. It
Mm-hmm.
feels uncertain. It feels not great. And that is why most people rest at good enough.
Yeah.
However, I have to ask you, you have one life and you have the opportunity to go balls to the wall and do anything, because I promise you that anything is possible if you are willing to do the work and be disciplined and consistent about where you want to get to. And that is where most people lose it, because when you go from here to there and it gets messy in here and it's ugly and it's hard, you go, this was good enough.
Right.
That's not really going to work. I don't feel like it. I don't really know how to do it. I don't like to be embarrassed. I don't like to look stupid. I don't want to work this hard. And how do I know? Because I've lived through it and I'm living through it now, because going where I'm going from where I was looks different.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, things look messy. And I'm sure of where I'm going, but I'm not always sure how we get there.
Yeah.
And, you know, and leading a team, you know, Kim and Tracy and some of the other people that, and Andy, like
Yep.
I'll say, make this set of graphics or do this thing. And then I'm like, nope, scrap that whole thing. That isn't it. That's not it. And my graphics designer, Pam, will tell you I have thrown away in the last 10 years 2 whole iterations of graphic, like of design stuff, printed materials, whatever, fold. We had all this stuff done and I didn't have it yet. And Unbreakable Wisdom is it, and that was coming, and I didn't get that until, like, you know, so it's messy. When you're building shit, it's messy. I move fast and I break things, and that's the name of another book, but that's like what I do. I go fast and I make corrections on the way, and I work faster than most people that I know, and anybody that knows me well will tell you that. And sometimes I break a lot of shit. That's okay. I'm all right with that, because I'm moving. I would rather be moving than not moving.
Yeah.
I would rather be moving forward than stay stuck. And I know that some of you might be comfortable in good enough, and you're probably saying, like, because there's not a lot of people making comments on our show this morning, which is fine. Usually when I talk about something that nobody really wants to talk about, they don't say anything.
It's quiet.
That's okay, right? We've been doing the show for 11 years, so I'm used to it. It's okay. I will just bring you back to the water example. Water, when it's flowing and oxygenated and moving, is life-giving. Water, when it's stagnant and toxic, is detrimental to your health. Okay? So I would just say to you, your life is like that.
Yeah.
If you are moving and going and stirring things around and moving ahead, you are giving life to your life. You are giving life-giving attention and energy to your life, to move forward, to stay healthy, to stay happy, right? My son's adult gym, the motto is movement is medicine. And that is perfect for this conversation as well. In your body, movement is medicine. Your mobility, your flexibility, like you can actually live well into 90 or 100, being able to run up and down the stairs and do all the things. You have to, guess what you have to do? You have to be consistent and disciplined and move forward.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I want to share. You know how when you make homemade lemonade, if you let it sit, all the stuff goes to the
Goes to
bottom,
the bottom.
and you have to take your straw and stir it to have it back up again, so
Right.
that you can drink it and have it taste as delicious as it can. Keith calls me the straw of my girlfriends in the life that of the circle of friendships that I have. Like, it kind of goes like this, and then I come in and I stir it up and I say, "Okay, girls," and like you're saying about movement, like you have to create the thing, you have to
Yep. Yep.
create something to occur, or else it's going to become stagnant like the pond. And that's why in the pond they have that fountain out in the middle to keep it moving, to keep
Yep.
it to
Right.
keep it yeah, to have
Right.
fluidity in our lives. Yeah, so good.
Right.
So
So
good.
again, support is what helps you with these conversations. To have stirrers like myself and Tracy and Beth and Janet and Missy and
Yep.
Michelle and all the people
Yep.
that are in the community, we
Yep.
stir things up. We ask hard questions. We have you keep moving along so that you can keep growing.
Mm, mm.
Okay, so I would ask you to think this week, if you wanted to think about something, I would ask you to think about where do you require a bigger vision and where do you require greater clarity? Where do you need to look a little deeper at situations in your life to decide if you have become complacent,
Mm.
to figure out if you have stopped moving forward?
Oh,
And if you find those places, which I do believe that you will find them hiding someplace in your life or places, and I would
mm,
ask you then, what is your bigger vision for that
mm,
place? What is the bigger vision now? You got there, it looks this way, you see that there's no real forward motion. What's the bigger vision that's going to drive you forward into the future?
mhm,
That's what
mhm.
I would ask you to look at this week.
It's good.
So we will be back next week. And then on the 20th, we're starting Autumn Alignment, which is going to be a 6-show. Let's see, we got one more week. And then, so we'll announce the topics for Autumn Alignment next week. And Autumn Alignment is going to be done live on the show, so you don't have to do anything different. It'll just be 6 shows in a row that have a particular purpose. And what we're aiming to do is walk you through the past and the past year and get you aligned so that you go into the last couple months of the year full boat, ready to participate in the holidays, ready to go in a different frame of mind, and so that you
Mm,
are making
good.
a solid blueprint for yourself for 2026. And we will have a workbook that goes along with Autumn Alignment. So if you have not yet joined the newsletter list, you ought to do that, because that's how you're going to get the workbook. The workbook will be given to people that have joined the newsletter, and it'll just go out in the newsletter. So you don't have to sign up, don't have to do anything special. I, honest to God, you guys, try to make this as simple as possible for you. I really do. So go to unbreakablewisdom.com. If you haven't been to see the site, go see the site.
Mhm.
There's all kinds of things you can do there. There's free stuff. You can join the community. I'm going to keep encouraging you to get into the community, because that's where we're
Yep.
going to be able to have deeper conversations. And starting in October, I'll be live right after the show for an hour twice a month inside the community. So whatever we've talked about here and you haven't been able to ask me your questions, you'll be able to talk about it in the community, because it'll be live on a Zoom where you can interact with me and whoever else will join me from my team.
It's good.
Okay. So we'll see you in a week. And I really encourage you, if you just caught part of the show, I encourage you to go back to the beginning. This show has really good considerations in it, and it really will change you if you allow the conversation, if you allow it to marinate, if you allow what we're saying to sink in. And if you really
Yeah.
hear what I'm saying to you, you can start looking around in your life to see where you might have become complacent and you didn't even notice. Because you don't want to be Blockbuster. All right. We'll see you soon.
Yes.